You tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need. We give you outspoken thoughts about all the headlines. We talk baseball, football, hockey, and more. No matter the topic, we cover it. Get ready for the show and keep it outspoken. Keep it outspoken. We keep it outspoken only on the Sportscast. Tune into the Sportscast with Brian, Craig, and Jeff. Give you all the sports news you need.
Hello, everyone. Welcome in to the Outspoken Sportscast. It's your host, Brian. I am riding solo this week. We are going to change things up a little bit now that football has started. Me and Jeff, we have decided weekly recaps. I'll start coming out on Tuesdays usually and doing a weekly recap of the NFL. And then on Friday nights, Jeff will jump on with me here and we'll do a weekly episode of the headlines of the week and the top 5 games going into next week. So look forward to that. I'm super excited that football's here. Super excited that week 1 has come and gone. And I'm going to go over some things about week 1 and kind of recap it for you. The game I was able to watch personally was the Buffalo Bills and the Steelers came on at noon. So that game was an interesting game. I expected the Bills to be better. I expected them to win the game. I actually predicted them to win that game. And the defense of the Steelers really gave the Buffalo some fits. They just swallowed up Allen and frustrated him. He was overthrowing some players, and it really, if Josh Allen hits these wide open receivers, they're touchdowns, and this game's a lot different, but that just wasn't the case this game. And the defense of the Steelers is what's going to keep the Steelers relevant this season. I'm not a big believer in Big Ben. I'm not a big believer that he can get the job done there. So with his age and his arm strength, they did win in Buffalo. It was a good win. I put this one on the defense, though. Roethlisberger was 18-32 for 188 yards and a touchdown, so he didn't come out and kill it. Josh Allen threw for 270, but he was very inefficient, 30 of 51. He had one touchdown there, so I expect the Bills to bounce back. This first week's going to have quite a bit of rust in it for teams, but the Pittsburgh Steelers do get that victory there week 1. The Thursday night game we predicted the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to blow out the Dallas Cowboys. The Buccaneers do get the victory, 31-29. We talked about this a little bit in last week's episode. Dallas Cowboys walk away with a moral victory, and a lot of people don't like to use that word because, it usually means you lost, which they did, but the Cowboys can walk away with their heads held high saying, we competed against Tom Brady, against a good defense. We should have won the game, actually, but we have answered some questions that we going into this game, and I think they're going to be well off in that division. So, prediction-wise, I have 3 different things going on, right? So I had the top 5 games of the week. We were 4-1 calling that the games that we predicted last week, the top 5 games. We were 4-1, so that's a good record. Overall, I do my own predictions. I was 8-8 last week, and I count that as a win in my book. 8-8's actually pretty good. And then I have a Survival Island game going on, and I predicted that the Denver Broncos would beat the Giants, and they did. So I move on to week 2. The Broncos did beat the Giants 27-13. This game, the Giants look bad, and I knew the defense of the Denver Broncos were going to be a very, very big reason why that was. So you look at the Giants' stats here. Daniel Jones had 1 touchdown, 267 yards passing, Daniel Jones was also the leading rusher for the Giants. Not very good when that's happening. Where was Saquon Barkley? He averaged 2.6 yards a carry. That's just horrible. You're not going to be able to run on this defense. You're not going to be able to throw on this defense very well. So Sterling Shepard did have 113 yards and 7 receptions, but no one else really kind of flew off the page there. Daniel Jones did fumble the football again. He has the issue with fumbling the football. And when you look at the Broncos team offensively, Teddy Bridgewater just needs to be the guy that's going to come in here and just ride the bus, drive that bus, right, and not turn over the football. He looked pretty efficient, 28 to 36, 2 touchdowns. Melvin Gordon rushed for 101 yards. He averaged 9 yards a carry. When you're doing that, averaging 9 yards a carry, you're going to be able to win. And the Giants have got to do something about that rushing defense. Jerry Jeudy, unfortunately, ends up getting injured in this game. It looks like he actually snapped his ankle, but it was only a high ankle sprain. He will miss some time with that, but he won't miss the whole season. He was their leading receiver in this game. So this defense is going to be tough, and this is exactly why I picked this team to win. They won 27-13. I move on, and I got a team that's not projected to be a for sure win out of the way in my Survivor game. Let's see. What's the next game here? The next game. All right, the next game was the Jacksonville Jaguars and Houston Texans. Houston Texans, all right, have a lot of drama over the offseason. And with Deshaun Watson, who's playing, who's not playing, all that stuff. But let's just look at the football field. The Texans end up winning this game pretty handily, 37-21. And we were looking at the debut of Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence. It was spoiled, though, with the loss, as they only put up 21 points. Now, Tyrod Taylor had 291 yards. Brandon Cooks, what a game he had, 132 yards, receiving 5 receptions, 7 targets. They played really good against this Jacksonville team. Now, it is against Jacksonville, so I'm not going to, sorry, this thing's being weird. I'm not going to, sit here and say they're going to light up the league, the Houston Texans, but they are projected to be really bad this year. They just played another bad team. So, Trevor Lawrence, he had an okay game when you look at his stats. 332 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also threw 3 interceptions, so maybe he's getting some of the nervousness out of his body. It was his first NFL game. It's also his first regular season loss of his entire life. He hasn't lost a regular season game in high school, in college. So that's a crazy stat. All the games he's played, he made a loss in the championship or the playoffs, but regular season, this was his first loss. So Jacksonville, I picked Jacksonville to win because I think they had the better quarterback, but I was wrong this game. I think they still do have the better quarterback, but I was wrong with that prediction. So next game was the Chargers versus the football team, and this one, 20-16, Chargers won. I predicted the Chargers to win. This guy, I'm telling you, Justin Herbert, is going to be a fun watch. He only threw 1 touchdown, and he did throw an interception, but this guy flings the ball a lot. They trust him, and he is the next guy to watch. So watch out for Justin Herbert. The football team defensively didn't do much. They didn't get to the quarterback. Chase Young was nowhere to be seen. This defense didn't put a lot of pressure on him, and he was able to throw the ball around. He threw 47 times. Austin Eckler didn't do very good rushing the ball. And this game was also different because Ryan Fitzpatrick got hurt. He's going to miss multiple weeks with a hip ablation, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. And their backup is Taylor Heinicke, and I don't know how good he's going to do. I don't think he's going to be that great. This defense is going to carry this team, and if you're not getting any pressure on a quarterback that can throw the ball really well, then you're not going to win. So We got that prediction right. We predicted the Seahawks to beat the Colts as they do 28-16. Russell Wilson looked pretty good. Now, my shock of this game is that Carson Wentz played. I thought he was going to miss time. I thought he was out 5 to 12 weeks with injury. He decided to play. He 251 yards, 2 touchdowns, not bad. Jonathan Taylor looking to be a good running back this year. He averaged 3 yards a carry. He only had 56 yards rushing the ball. They got to get some more balance there, I think, for this team. They're one of those teams that's going to play good defense and rush the ball and hope Carson Wentz can be that guy that can be something special for them, as they took a shot on him this season. So they ended up taking the loss here. We predicted Seattle to win this game as well. The next game, we got the Jets and the Panthers. This game was a top 5 game last week. It was a number 5 game, and it's because there wasn't some crazy games when you look at matchup-wise. This is Jets' new quarterback versus Jets' old quarterback, and that we projected the Panthers to win this game. They have the better team, and they did. They won 19-14. They walk away with the win. Carolina scored 16 points in the second quarter, and then they scored 3 in the fourth to just put more distance in between them. Stat-wise, I wasn't really impressed with the rookie quarterback. Why is it not giving me that? Sam Darnold had 279 yards, 24-35, 1 touchdown. Nothing special. They did get the job done. I wasn't really big on Zach Wilson's performance. My buddy watched this game. I wasn't able to watch this game, but my buddy watched this game and said he got a lot better in the second half. In the first half, they scored no points. Second half, they put up 8 and 6. So, he said he did play a lot better in the second half. So we're looking forward to seeing what Zach Wilson can do. But you also got to understand, he's on a bad team. So I don't know much he can do with the Jets there, but he is on a bad team. Sorry, it's not showing me his stats. I have no clue why. The next game, we projected the Vikings to win this. They lost the Bengals 27-24. They were down a lot of this game. They came back and tied it, and the Bengals ended up hitting a game-winning 33-yard field goal as time expired. Really excited to watch Joe Burrow this year. He unfortunately got hurt last year, right? Snapped his leg in half. You heard rumors that in preseason that he didn't look too good. He was a little iffy with that leg and still squirmish with it, and maybe in his head a little bit. But he came out, he threw 20-27, 261 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he looked good. Joe Mixon lit it up. He 29 carries, 127 yards. And Jamar Chase, another guy that rumors were he was dropping all the passes. Well, he had 5 receptions, 101 yards, and a touchdown this game. So he looked really good. And Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase actually played together with LSU. So there's some familiarity right there for you. Stat-wise for Kirk Cousins, 351 yards, 2 touchdowns. Dalvin Cook only averaged 3 yards a carry, 61 yards, not very good for him. And they didn't have a receiver break 100. They had Adam Thielen get 92 yards on 9 receptions. So the Vikings are one of those teams, and are in my division, so I'm glad they're struggling. They've got to be, as a fan base, pretty frustrated. And I say that because each year you look like they have a team that could actually do something. They have a decent defense, and Kirk Cousins is a decent quarterback, and they have offensive weapons. And I think this is the make or break year for them. Honestly, as a head coach, I think he's got to be gone if you're not producing with that talent that he has. I think he might be on the hot seat this season with Mike Zimmerman with Minnesota, because they do have talent. What are they going to do after Kirk Cousins? I think this is his last year when he can move on. So I'm not saying they're already out. It's just one game, but there is some frustration as a fan base with this team and their performances and the teams they should beat. The Bengals aren't a automatic win anymore on the on the schedule because of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and what this defense can do. But this is a game they definitely should have won. Next game, you got the Cardinals versus the Titans, and we predicted the Titans to win this game, and they got blown out. Kyle Murray looked lights out in this game. Kyle Murray threw for 289 yards, but he had 4 touchdown passes. He was going off, making play after play. DeAndre Hopkins had 6 catches, 83 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And they looked really impressive. And, this is the team, the forgotten team, I think, in their division with the Rams and the Seattle Seahawks and the 49ers. This is the team that probably gets talked about the less in that division. And they came to play. And Tennessee is not no pushover, right? They played tough defense. They run the ball pretty good. And then Tannehill throws the ball that they had Julio Jones in the mix, and they've got some weapons on offense. So the Titans are also a team that can, they're a playoff team consistently the last couple years. So they came in 38-13. They lit them up. They scored 10 in the first and 14 in the second and third quarter to put this game away, and they looked really good defensively. Where did he go? Defensively, it's Chandler Jones had 5 sacks, 6 tackles, a forced fumble. This guy was going off. He was defensive player of the week. Just killed it. Ryan Tannehill only threw for 212 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception there. And Derrick Henry, 58 yards, and this is the Achilles heel of this team. If you can shut down Derrick Henry, you make him one-dimensional, and to me, Ryan Tannehill cannot beat you one-dimensionally. He cannot throw the ball and beat you. The running game opens up this offense so well when you got usually Derrick Henry's going, and he can average 6-7 yards a carry. Well, then you have to stop him, and that opens up the pass. And Tannehill did not do very good this week. Julio Jones had 3 receptions for 29 yards on 6 targets. Nothing big for him in this game either. So not a fantastic start for him in this season opener with a new team. This next one, we picked the 49ers to win, and we got this right. They won 41-33 after going up big on this team. They scored 24 points in the second quarter alone. Okay. The Lions scored 16 points in the fourth quarter and almost make the comeback. Jimmy Garoppolo threw for 314 yards. Deebo Samuel had 189 yards rushing. Eli Mitchell, he had 104 yards rushing. Raheem Mostert is a big loss for the 49ers. He's going to miss the rest of the season. He's going to have season-ending, I believe, knee surgery, so he'll be out for the rest of the year. With that, the Lions, Jared Goff, he had 338 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he had to throw their way back into this game. And I think that, at the end, the 49ers just kind of gave up. And the Lions started coming back, but they couldn't pull it off there in Detroit. The Falcons and Eagles. This was another surprise. The Eagles blew them out 32-6 in Atlanta. Jalen Hurts actually looked really good in this game. And he's a guy that I wrote off that I don't really like as a quarterback, but maybe he's learning this season and doing things a little differently with Philadelphia. He threw for 3 touchdowns and 264 yards. Devontae Smith out of Alabama had a touchdown with 71 yards receiving in his opening game there for the Eagles. Matt Ryan, 164 yards passing. Just ugly game for them. The Eagles had Matt Ryan rushing around, being sacked, pressured all day long. It did not get easier for him, and the Falcons' offense and defense look atrocious. Next game was probably game of the week. The way it played out, the Kansas City Chiefs end up beating the Cleveland Browns 33-29. The Browns should have won this game. This is a game they let slip. And this is that game this is why the Chiefs are maddening. This is that game where you think the Chiefs are going to lose, and the Browns got it pretty much taken care of. And then a couple plays here and a couple plays there, and the next thing you know, the Chiefs are back in it. And the Chiefs ended up winning this game 33-29. Patrick Mahomes had 3 touchdowns and 337 yards. Tyreek Hill, 197 yards receiving. That's why they got back into it. That's exactly why they got this win. And Baker Mayfield had 321 yards. He didn't throw a touchdown, but the ground game took over, and he scored 3 touchdowns himself. So this is a team that the Browns put up, some good numbers. They should have won this game. They ended up losing, but good win for the Chiefs and good battle for the Browns. Both teams are going to be good this season. The next game, oh my goodness, Packers and Saints. This was a blowout. This was a game that was horrible. Packers lose 38-3. We got this one wrong. A lot of people got this one wrong. Aaron Rodgers had 133 yards, 2 interceptions. Just looked horrible. A.J. Dillon was our leading rusher with 19 yards. Okay, Devontae Adams only 56 yards. But let me look over the Saints because Jameis Winston came out, did the job he needed to do. He only threw 148 yards, but he had 5 touchdown passes. This defense looked really, really good. Alvin Kamara had 83 yards rushing, averaged 4 yards a carry. This defense had 2 interceptions. They had 2 sacks on Aaron Rodgers. They had pressure in his face all day. They made him feel really uncomfortable. The Packers' offense put the defense in bad situations, and this is what happens. And you look about the rust and the questions following the offseason with Aaron Rodgers and everyone. Okay, let me put this to bed right now, all right? All on the internet is Aaron Rodgers tanking on purpose and tanking to get traded. First of all, we're not trading Aaron Rodgers midseason. Secondly, Aaron Rodgers is not tanking on purpose, okay? Aaron Rodgers is tell me why, if Aaron Rodgers wants to be gone at the end of the year and he wants to be traded, tell me why he would come out and tank this year and ruin his trade value. Why? Now someone will take him, but the Packers have to agree to the deal. Why would he come out and ruin his trade value? You know what this is? This is one bad game, okay? Against a good defense. The Saints are not a pushover team. Just because they lost Drew Brees, who had shoulder issues last couple years and kind of fell off at the end of his career, they have a good defense. Jameis Winston is a gunslinging quarterback who can throw the football. This defense looked atrocious on Green Bay. But that being said, back to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is not tanking. This is what happens when you have an offseason and he didn't do any preseason. He didn't practice at all. And he goes right into this game with some rust. And he looked horrible. It's time to relax. It's one game. You put it behind us and you move on. Now, if we keep having these problems, we play Detroit this Monday night. If we keep having these problems in Detroit, okay, then your worry meter might go up a little bit. But Aaron Rodgers is a competitor, and he's not tanking any game, so stop with the stupidity. All right, guys, sorry about that. I had to get that off my chest. The Dolphins and Patriots, the Dolphins win by 1 point. This was the big game. Mac Jones getting his first start in the NFL. He played better than Tua Tagovailoa. He threw for 281 yards and a touchdown. He was 29-39. They rushed the ball decently. They had 100 yards rushing for Damian Harrison. Aguilar had 72 yards. He was the leading receiver and a touchdown for them. Maybe they can turn his career around there. The Dolphins and Tua, he only threw for 202 yards. Didn't look all that great. He had a touchdown and an interception. This game, I knew was going to be a defensive struggle for both. It was a defensive slugfest. And the Miami Dolphins get the 1-point victory. But this is, and these are two teams that know each other really well. Bill Belichick knows the Dolphins really well. He knows Brian Flores really well. And it was going to be a tight game for them. Let me go. Let me look up Jalen Waddle. I forgot he went there. Jalen Waddle. Did he have an impact in this game? He had 4 catches for 61 yards, and he had the touchdown. So, decent game for him for his NFL debut. A lot of rookies we're trying to keep track of in their debuts, and coming into this year, a lot of good wide receivers, that is. The Sunday night football game, the Bears get stomped 34-14 by the Rams. We predicted this one to be right, too. This is another game that's got a lot of storylines to it. You know, Andy Dalton, first year with the Bears. Can he turn his career around? He played with the Bengals, then with the Cowboys. Now he's with the Bears. They promised him that starting position, and that's why he's playing. I think his leash is very slim there in Chicago. He's 27-38. He had 206 yards and 1 interception, no touchdowns thrown. David Montgomery on the ground rushed for 108 yards, and Justin Fields did come in, and he threw two attempts, and he was 2 of 2 for 10 yards. He rushed for a touchdown in his first NFL debut, and I was surprised to see him in there, just because they want to stick with Andy Dalton from what we've seen. The fan base wants Justin Fields. Andy Dalton's leash is very, very slim there, and this could be the end of Matt Nagy in Chicago. If it doesn't work out with his decision, whether whose decision it is, it looks like Matt Nagy's decision to stick with Andy Dalton, so he's going to ride or die with that, and Justin Fields waiting there, and he will play this season. That is almost a for sure thing, and they start struggling. He will play. Justin Fields will play a game this season, start sometime. So watch for that. Matthew Stafford, the biggest storyline of this season going into it as far as players on new teams, 321 yards, 3 touchdowns. He opens the game with a big, deep bomb down the field, scored a touchdown. And the Cooper Kupp, 108 yards. Van Jefferson, 2 receptions for 80 yards, man. Both had touchdowns in this game. They looked really good. This defense played extremely well, and they shut down this Chicago offense. The Bears, who's supposed to have a good defense, couldn't slow down Matthew Stafford, and this team is deadly. They win 34-14. The final game of the week was Monday night, the Ravens versus the Raiders. This is a game that I predicted wrong. I predicted Baltimore to win. I think a lot of people would. This game was also a very insane ending. So this game, Baltimore should have won this game. They gave up 17 fourth-quarter points to allow the Raiders to get back in it. They go to overtime. The Oakland Raiders score they kicked a 55-yard field goal to tie the game to go to overtime. They go to overtime. They score a touchdown, the Raiders do, but it's reviewed like all scoring plays are. The Raiders think they won, pretty much just wanting to walk off the field. They call it back. He was down. He was down by just a itty bit. Well, the next play, the Raiders get a false start. They move the ball back 5 yards. And guess what? Derek Carr throws the interception the very next play as he zooms it into the end zone. It bounces around. The Ravens pick it off, thinking, oh, man, Raiders went from we won the game to we probably just lost the game. Well, don't worry. The defense comes up and sacks and strips Lamar Jackson. The Raiders get the ball, and they end up driving down and scoring on a 31-yard strike from Derek Carr, who threw for 435 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's the leading passer this so far in the week 1 of the NFL, throwing for 435 yards there. The ground game was non-existent against the Ravens. They have a good defense. Darren Waller was thrown to 19 times. He caught 10 of those for 105 yards. This is Derek Carr looked pretty good in this game. The Ravens did not. Lamar Jackson had 235 yards and a touchdown. Lamar also was a leading rusher with 86 yards for 12 carries. Crazy finish. Woke up the next morning to this madness of an ending here going in to week 1. So we had some good games. We have some crazy wins, some upsets. The biggest, my biggest shock was watching Green Bay get dismantled. And then I got the Cardinals dismantling the Tennessee Titans. That was a shocker for me. I thought this would be a closer game. I predicted Tennessee to win this game. They ended up losing. I thought the Bills would win as well. It was a tough fight. I knew that Steelers defense was going to give them heck. So those are probably my 3 surprising takeaways this week. Also, Cowboys keeping up with Tampa. I thought that one would be a blowout, but it ended up being pretty close, and the Cowboys should have won that one. So that's your Week 1 NFL recap. We will come back on Friday night. Me and Jeff will do another episode with the headlines of the week. We'll give you our predictions for Week 2. We'll give you our top 5 games for Week 2 and get into all of that. There's plenty of headlines around the NFL and other sports to get into, so look forward to that, guys. These Tuesday night episodes are going to be a little bit shorter usually, so even though I know it's Wednesday today, it's getting out a little late on this one, but we just talked about that today. So let me know what you think. Let me know about your Week 1 records. What were you this week? I was 8-8. I'll take that as a victory. Anytime you can get 8-8, that's pretty much pretty good in my opinion. Now, I'm not betting money on this or anything. This is just my predictions going into this season. So, are going into week by week. So, all right, guys. Well, let me know what you think. Click, subscribe, share, listen. Feel free to reach out to us on social media at Outspoken Sports, Outspoken Sportscast. Feel free to email me at outspokensportscast@gmail.com. All right, guys. I hope you have a good rest of your week. Look forward to this weekend. And we got Thursday night football. I believe it is the Giants and the Redskins, I believe, coming up this week. So good luck with your predictions and good luck with your fantasy football. Take care, guys.